faces the pride's females. They know if the Nomad wins, the first thing he'll do is kill their cubs to get them ready to mate again. The stakes are high. Only 1 in 5 cubs makes it to adulthood. These cubs are the bachelor's prime target, and their mothers will fight hard to keep them alive. The Nomad is tooled up with some of the deadliest weapons in the animal kingdom. His retractable claws give him a vice-like grip. He has a bone-crushing bite, and he's determined to find and kill the cubs. But the leader of the pack has arrived, and he's ready to fight for his family. The thickness of his mane is an indicator of his virility and strength. These two look evenly matched. Round 2. Adrenaline shuts down their digestive systems. Blood is redirected to their muscle-packed limbs. With the cubs at stake, the pride and its leader are not backing down. Either could cripple his opponent by tearing into his vulnerable backside. But in the bush, neither can get a good grip. The opening bout lasts less than a minute. This is about strength, not stamina. It's a stalemate. The Nomad refuses to leave. There's only one thing left for the pride leader to do. Rearing up to 3 meters tall, they unleash their canines. They aim for each other's windpipe and spinal cord. It's a razor-sharp right hook that finishes off the intruder. It's victory for the head of the pride, and the lionesses make sure the lone male never returns. For now, the cubs are safe. Lions easily live up to their fierce reputation, but Animal Fight Club has some surprises in store. If you think that giraffes are docile, think again. When mating rights to every female in 80 square kilometers are up for grabs, things can turn ugly. In Tanzania, a young upstart attempts to knock out the reigning champ with fighting tactics that shock nearby tourists. Nearly half a giraffe's height comes from its long, muscular neck. Topped off with a head like a club, the perfect weapon for slugging your opponent. Some experts even believe their necks have specially evolved for fighting. And as their necks never stop growing, older males are the odds-on favorite. This 10-year-old is 30 centimeters taller than his younger rival. It's the champ who makes the first move, and the youngster retaliates, giraffe style. With his longer neck, the old bull aims a series of sucker punches. solid connection could damage vital organs and win the fight. The impact can be heard 100 meters away. The inexperienced youngster retaliates. Ball and socket joints give their necks incredible flexibility, so they can fling their head like a slingshot. But to win, they need to aim for the body. For tourists looking on, it's a brutal display. These hardcore headbutts look like a dangerous tactic. But a male giraffe's brain is protected, with oversized sinuses acting like airbags to cushion the impact. For a moment, it looks like the fight is over. Like exhausted boxers, they stay close. But the young upstart doesn't know when to quit. For the old bull, enough is enough. With a well-aimed blow, he throws the challenger off his feet. The youngster concedes. He won't challenge again anytime soon. The old bull retains his title and his females. But other giraffes use a far more dangerous technique to gain the advantage over their rivals. Blood is pumped a whopping 2.5 meters up a giraffe's neck and into its brain. If this blood supply is cut off for even a moment, the giraffe could lose consciousness. A blow to the back of the head is all it takes. The contender is knocked out cold. He could be unconscious for over 3 minutes, vulnerable to passing predators. This time, he's lucky. He'll live to fight another day. Our next contenders may be far smaller than giraffes, but they rarely back down from a challenge. They could be considered the cutest animals on the African plains. But meerkats are tougher than they look. They are the bantamweight contenders of Animal Fight Club. What they lack in power and size, they make up for in specialized weapons and teamwork. Even their family groups are called mobs. Life in this dusty world is usually peaceful. It's the meerkat clan to the east that's the problem. There's been a long-standing territorial feud between neighbors, and the East Side Gang is about to make their move. A sentinel sounds the alarm. The neighbors have crossed onto the West Siders' turf. The pack responds en masse. They're ready to fight to the death to protect their turf. But the neighbors keep on coming. It's war. They clash head-to-head in a mass brawl. Using long claws and needle-like teeth, they grab their rivals and go for the neck. The battle is violent but brief. The intruders are outnumbered and overwhelmed. The home team forces their East Side rivals to retreat. Fighting takes a big toll on such a small animal. Fewer than 50% of adult meerkats make it through the year. But the bigger the group and the more vigilant the sentinel, the greater chance that the wounded will recover. The white rhino, huge, heavily armored, and hostile. This guy is built like a tank. Heavy as they are, they run on their toes, reaching speeds of 56 kilometers an hour. On the front, two threatening horns, up to 1.5 meters in length. On its flanks, cross-linked fibers, like an impenetrable chainmail suit. But the soft skin on the belly is vulnerable, so rivals try to stay horn to horn. Most rhino jousts are won by the territory holder. But fights don't always work out as expected. In South Africa, an irritable young bull patrols a watering hole. He's aggressively territorial and not open to sharing his prime real estate. His eyesight is poor, and without a breeze, he can't detect the scent of the newcomers. He needs a closer look. It's a female, a possible partner. But she has a calf, just months old. She's not ready or willing to mate. So the bull sees them off with force. He drives the mother back and into deep water. With her belly exposed, the female rhino is now in serious danger. If the bull can find the weak points in her suit of armor, he could pierce internal organs. With his mother in trouble, the calf wades in from behind. 1/50th the big bull's size, David takes on Goliath. May not be much, but the jab throws the bull off guard. Tiny calf and massive male go head to head. Confused, the bull flees, with the courageous calf in hot pursuit. It just goes to show, you don't have to be big to win the fight. But our next contenders certainly use size to their advantage. As the heavyweight champion of the African savanna, a bull elephant can weigh as much as a school bus. Its tusks are like spears, built to puncture and gouge. And its massive size means a full-grown elephant has no natural enemies. Except another full-grown elephant. In Kenya's Amboseli National Park, there's a female ready to mate. And this bull is desperate to find her. Liquid oozing from his temples shows he's in must, a hormone-driven frenzy that can last several months. Coursing through his body, there is 6 times more testosterone than normal. A second bull hones in on the same female. He's also in must. A clash of these titans is almost inevitable. He's larger, but battle-scarred and missing his full set of weaponry. Hugely elongated teeth, these giant incisors consist of rock-hard dentine surrounding a pulpy core, which feeds their constant growth. Reaching over 3 meters long, these are the elephant's most dangerous weapons. The missing tusk gives the younger male a fighting chance. He moves around to his opponent's unguarded side. The single tusker moves to shut down the angle. He flaps his ears to intimidate his rival. The smaller male should back down, but he disregards the warning. Let the battle begin. Driven by hormones, these fights could continue for over 10 hours. The young bull tries to twist his opponent so he can skewer and kill him. But the older bull is stronger and keeps him at bay. Now it's his turn to attack, using his extra height to smash down his opponent. Trunk and tusks weigh a combined 230 kilograms. So to lessen the weight, their skulls aren't solid, but built like a honeycomb, allowing for their heads to be maneuvered by powerful neck muscles. The single tusker's power and experience trump the younger male's tusks and testosterone. With just one tusk, the old male must work twice as hard. But the hormone-fueled youngster is relentless. The single tusker puts all his effort into one last thrust. The old bull admits defeat and has just enough energy to flee. The younger male is the champion of champions. His hard-earned prize awaits his return. When the plains begin to dry up, Africa's most hostile beasts become even more short-tempered. They've killed more people in Africa than any other mammal. And when they fight each other, they fight to the death. These giant vegetarians sport self-sharpening canines the size of a man's forearm. Their sole use is for fighting. It's August in Zambia's Luangwa Valley. 30,000 hippos gather in these rapidly shrinking rivers. A battle-hardened bull keeps a watchful eye over his prime patch of real estate. It's the envy of all his neighbors, with deep water enough to hide from the African sun. In the last few weeks, over 50 females have joined his pool party. If he can keep them here, he'll father their calves and continue his bloodline. But the party atmosphere is under serious threat. It hasn't rained in weeks, and nearby backwaters have almost disappeared. This younger bull's home has dried to a puddle. If he stays, he'll overheat and die. He has no choice but to head for the river, where a fight is inevitable. Thinking his females are under threat, the old campaigner issues a warning. It's not enough. The youngster is desperate and keeps on coming. face-off. The veteran has size and home turf advantage. The contender gives away 230 kilos, but has youth on his side. The old bull's bite could slice through a canoe. The youngster desperately shields himself with his mouth. Hinged at the back of his skull, his jaws yawn into an enormous spiky shield. The aim of the fight is to clamp down on chinks in the opponent's fatty armor with their formidable tusks. The most vulnerable areas are the throat, legs, underbelly, and exposed palate. Now it's a test of who can land the decisive blow. The old bull, with his bigger gape and tusks, has the upper hand. But the youngster is set for a comeback. The youngster can barely keep his head above water. Pushing off the bottom, the bigger bull launches the pivotal move. His lower canine pierces the youngster's palate, threaded with nerve endings. Injured and realizing he doesn't stand a chance, the youngster flees. For the winner, it's back to the pool party. Hippos can live for 40 years, but the beaten bull won't survive long in the baking sun. If he's going to last the dry season, he'd better find a less crowded stretch of river. When it comes to fighting, zebras have definitely earned their stripes. A stocky build, sharp hooves, and chisel-like incisors, zebras are built for battle. For these nomads, life is never peaceful. Yet there's one thing that really makes a zebra's blood boil. It's the dry season in the Kalahari Desert. Herds of zebras close in on a watering hole. A family of 6 is one of the last to arrive. Their father and leader, an experienced stallion, does his best to hold the family together. But there's trouble ahead. An adolescent male with just one thing in his mind. The stallion's daughter. He doesn't care that her father's watching. He tries to take her for himself in broad daylight. The stallion attacks, defending his daughter's honor. He goes for the youngster's legs. A vital tendon runs just below the surface. Sever it, and you hand out a death sentence. The youngster launches a desperate defense, using his body as a shield. The stallion changes tack, targeting the neck. The youngster's thick skin protects him, but he's struggling to stay in the fight. When all looks lost, the youngster turns the tables with a well-aimed kick. It can cut, break ribs, shatter skulls, even kill. It's a knockout blow and stops the old stallion in his tracks. The adolescent has earned his prize. The daughter is impressed. It's time to leave her father and start a family of her own. You'd be surprised by what some animals fight over. A pile of poop means the world to the dung beetle. It's food. It's a pickup joint. And it's even an incubator for baby beetles. Word spreads quickly when there's a fresh delivery. And competition among males is fierce. Each male needs a dung ball of his own to woo a mate. It can take 30 minutes to shape the perfect calling card. And they can roll the ball up to 50 times their own weight. But not every beetle makes the effort. Thieves are waiting in the wings, well equipped to take a dung ball by force. They're 1,000 times heavier than a ladybug, with an exoskeleton forming a tough body armor. And large serrated legs give them the grip and the power to send their opponent flying. After half an hour of molding, a male dung beetle is ready to roll away his prized ball of feces and find a mate. But a thief makes his move. And he's brought an accomplice. The ball maker is ready for them. The tag team uses dirty tactics to try to hijack the ball maker's mobile home. Dung beetles are some of the strongest insects on the planet, and this ball maker is one of the toughest. In the confusion of this combat dance, the ball maker comes out on top, and the bandits are sent packing. He whisks his prize away from the theater of war. It's not long before the ball maker finds a mate, and they're head over heels in love. Soon, they'll lay down their roots and bury their eggs inside the dung ball. In a few months, the next generation will emerge, ready for a life of fighting over feces. The siren call of a female leopard. She's hoping to entice a mate, but just as likely, she'll start a fight between the territorial male and any interloper brave enough to take him on. Male leopards are violently possessive and frighteningly strong. A bulky head contains crushing jaws and canines that can sever a spinal cord. Stocky limbs power dagger-like claws. They use them to grip, rip, and tear. Londolozi Game Reserve, South Africa, Leopard Central. More than 20 big cats in 100 square kilometers. This many predators means conflict is common. A particularly muscular male rules over this patch of bush. But the calling female has attracted unwanted attention. An outsider hoping to sneak in and mate. He's not welcome. The intruder keeps the bite at bay. They're fighting for their lives. Neither can put a paw wrong. The leopards match each other move for move, trying to disembowel their rival with their claws. The flirtatious female is only interested in who wins. After 5 intense minutes, the grappling fighters are bloodied and exhausted. Yet neither will back down. When the female sets off, the fighters follow in dogged pursuit. The female will be in season for up to a week, which means the fights go on, day and night. Finally, the intruder backs down, and the female makes her choice. It's hardly romantic, but both male and female get what they want. Leopards are largely nocturnal, but in Africa, the day shift is just as impressive. The Nile crocodile, the largest croc in all of Africa, measuring the length of 3 grown men and weighing as heavy as a horse. Its back is armed with bony plates that can withstand spears and bullets. Crocs have the biggest bite in the animal kingdom, 3 times stronger than a lion, enough to crush a human skull. Its limbs may be short, but a powerful tail can launch a rapid attack. So crocs do their best to avoid each other. But at certain times and in certain places, conflict is inevitable. Kenya's Mara River. Some of the biggest and baddest crocs prey on migrating herds. It's been 10 months since the last mobile buffet came through, and the giant reptiles are ravenous. But cold-blooded crocs must warm up before they go into hunting mode. And there's hot competition for the best sunbathing spots. The biggest croc, over 4.5 meters long, bags the best sunbed. His scales work like solar panels, energizing him. By the time the gazelles summon the courage to cross, he's charged up and ready to go. Another croc strikes first. With a death roll, he dispatches his catch. It's barely enough for one. The mega croc has his eye on the prize, and he'll fight to get what he wants. With a flick of his tail, he plows into his rival. Their jaws clamp down on each other with the weight of a car. It seems like a deadlock. The larger croc flips his opponent and attempts to drown him in the shallow water. Somehow, the smaller rival manages to escape the death grip. He's alive, but hungry. The mammoth victor has stolen his meal, an adult gazelle. For a reptile this size, it's barely a snack. Fortunately, the next course doesn't take long to arrive. Africa's river dwellers live in fear of the Nile crocodile. Although according to hunters, the most dangerous game animal on the continent is the Cape buffalo. Buffalo are said to kill 200 people a year. 6 times heavier than a lion. Its main weapon, a massive set of horns fused into a bulletproof plate called a boss. Hugely aggressive and surprisingly agile, buffalo can charge at 56 kilometers an hour. It's the breeding season. Testosterone levels rise by up to 10 times, and hyped-up bulls turn on each other. Full-blooded fights are extremely rare, but when they happen, they cause serious damage and even death. These two bulls are about to put each other to the test. Around 7 years old, the challenger is entering his prime. But the older, stockier bull isn't ready to retire just yet. The winner takes all and gets mating rights to the herd. The loser will be left to the lions. The old bull takes almost a ton of speeding buffalo squarely on the boss. But his built-in shock absorber, a thick layer of fibrous skin, protects bone and brain beneath. The youngster changes tactics. He uses his horns like bayonets, jabbing at the opponent's neck. But the old bull has a thick, leathery hide to protect him. Now he manages to hook under the challenger's horns and tries to break his neck. The challenger has a trick of his own, sweeping the old bull into a leg lock. Throw the old-timer off balance, and the fight is over. But he fights back, more fiercely than ever. Too fiercely, his horn shears clean off. It's fed by a network of blood vessels and nerves. Even in the heat of battle, the bull must be in serious pain. The youngster tries to push home his advantage. The old boy isn't ready to concede. After 15 minutes, the fight grinds to a halt. It seems like a stalemate. The youngster is running on empty. Just a glance is enough to see him off. Against the odds, the wounded old bull has won and kept control of the herd. But in Africa, the fight is never over. For some animals, there is no breeding or fighting season. The battle for mates lasts all year round. Sacred baboons, tough survivors of Africa's Badlands. The males are warriors, twice the size of the females, armed with fearsome fangs as long as a lion's. This grizzled male has a tough time keeping control of his females. His harem is part of a 400-strong troop that has spent the night on the cliffs. Hungry, they must leave their hideout. The male ushers them to the plain below to look for water. It's a dangerous place, which is why he's joining forces with this unruly rabble. There's safety in numbers. The threat comes from a second troop. It's just as big, and it's heading their way. Among the horde, a lone male looking for a mate. The harem male keeps a close eye on his family. Abduction is a way of life around here. Intent on finding the same watering hole, 800 baboons are coming together, and there's no love lost between them. This is as close as it gets to war in the animal kingdom.